Good evening, ladies and gents. I decided to redo our river journey. I wasn't happy with the first filming. Right through there is York Gate, the river steps where Samuel Pepys would have alighted from. Buckingham Street there where he lived, and obviously we can't alight from York Gate anymore. We have to walk all the way forward, and this shows you how much of the land they took back from the Thames right to here, to the Victoria Embankment, and we go to one of the modern landing piers, Embankment Pier. So join me on board. And on to our next Pepys based location. When Samuel Pepys had himself rowed over the river in the Great Fire of London, it was to Bankside that he went to a little inn to watch the fire burn and to get away from the heat. And that's where we're going. Just through there, where I'm pointing, is Buckingham Street and York Gate, Waterloo Bridge. Somerset House just there. Blackfriars Bridge we're just about to go under. And of course the bridge for its train station. And for those of you that are on the Pepys Trail with me and have been watching, we're off to South Bank now, Bankside. And that is where Samuel Pepys had himself rowed over to in the height of the Great Fire of London to escape the heat and the flames. So we should be focusing on this side of the bank for now. Tate Modern there. If any of you ladies and gents are interested in this one, let me know in the comments section and I will cover it for you eventually. Shakespeare's Globe. We are entirely focusing on this side of the bank for a moment because we're off to our next Pepys base location. And here it is. Join me on Bankside from where Samuel watched the fire.
Thence we to a little alehouse on the bankside, and there stayed till it was dark almost, and saw the fire grow. And as it grew darker, appeared more, and in corners and upon steeples, and between churches and houses, as far as we could see, up the hill of the city, in a most horrid, malicious, bloody flame.
Good morning, ladies and gents, hope you're all well. And you join me from our next Pepys based drinking location, which is the Anchor Tavern on Bankside. This one played a role in a pretty pivotal event in Pepys's life, the Great Fire of London, when he writes in his diary, and to a little inn on Bankside, and there did see the fire grow and grow. This is the inn that he came to. Now, if you go into the pub, it tells you that this pub was destroyed by the Great Fire of London and rebuilt. That is not true. The Great Fire of London didn't find its way over onto Bankside, luckily, and many people that could caught boats over to Bankside to flee the fire, really, and that's what Pepys did. He come and over to this side of the river and watched the fire, and this is going to be our location for today. It's a nice old pub, this one. Just some exterior views of it. There's been a pub on this site for 800 years, or over 800 years, but this incarnation that we see was built in 1615 and was originally the Anchor Brewery tap room. There's information over here. We'll have a look. The Anchor Bankside, the brewery site upon which the present building stands, has a rich and varied past. Throughout history, the Anchor has been used as a tavern, a brothel, a chapel, a brewery, a ship's chandler's, and has entertained a wealth of notable patrons. The first official record of the Anchor was not made until 1822. However, other records state that, as well as being the site of a Roman grave, the locality was used for plague pits during 1603, and old maps show bear and bull baiting pits within the site. It was most likely that one early owner of the brewery, Josiah Childs, 1665, gave the Anchor its current name. Childs was closely involved with the Navy, to whom he supplied masts, spars and bowsprits, as well as stores and small beer. At one time, the locals referred to this pub as Thrall's, or Deadman's Place, Thrall's being the name of the brewery who owned the pub at the time. Perhaps the most famous local landmark was the original Globe Theatre, which stood from 1598 until 1613. Performed here were Shakespearean classics such as Romeo and Juliet, As You Like It, Many other London pubs claim Shakespeare as a patron. However, we can be fairly sure that he enjoyed an hour or two within these walls. The modern Shakespeare Globe opened in 1997 as a reconstruction of the original theatre, built within metres of the previous building. Dr. Samuel Johnson, another of England's best-known literary figures, was a close friend of the Thrale brewery owners and a regular patron at the Anchor. As the single most quoted English writer after Shakespeare, Dr. Johnson wrote many essays, poems and books, including his Dictionary of the English Language. A copy of his dictionary is on display in the pub. Johnson was a member of the literary club founded by Sir Joshua Reynolds in 1764, which included many influential cultural figures of the time. In May 1773, a superb meal was enjoyed at the Anchor with these friends, associates including Reynolds, artist, Oliver Goldsmith, Irish poet, David Garrick, actor and author of The Heart of the Oak, Our Ships, and Edmund Burke, Irish statesman. It was from the pub that in 1666 famous diarist Samuel Pepys witnessed the awesome destruction of the Great Fire of London. He wrote in his personal diary that he took refuge in a little alehouse on Bankside. There watched the fire grow. The Great Fire swept through central parts of London, gutting the medieval city and destroying the majority of London's homes. The original survived the Great Fire of 1666, however, ironically burned down sometime later when fire later devastated the area, and was rebuilt between 1770 and 1775 by Wynne Allen to become the pub we see today. The pub contains a room dedicated to the Clink prison, which can be found nearby in the aptly named Clink Street. The Clink, owned by the Bishop of Winchester, was built for the detention of religious nonconformists and was in use from the 12th century until 1780, when it was burned down during the Gordon riots and never rebuilt. The Clink prison was the first prison in which women were regularly confined. So, we're on Bank End, London SE1, London Borough of Southwark, and this is the Anchor. You can't beat nice old pubs like this. They do fish and chips as well as other meals and things. And if you're looking for a decent lager, get one called Neck Oil, which is very nice. And in we shall go. This is not true. The pub was not burnt in the Great Fire of London. The Great Fire of London did not find its way as far over as this. It didn't cross the river. The pub was rebuilt and restructured heavily through the 18th and 19th century. life-size garden for Newgate Prison. Love the old beams in that. It's amazing to think really when Pepys was here, what he would have been feeling and going through. It certainly wouldn't have been light-hearted, that's for sure. Something very nice behind me in a minute, which I shall show you. Prisoner escaping from the Clink prison through the sewer on Bankside. Prisoners escaping. Look at that, look. The Globe Theatre, that's amazing. And we are not done yet because there's more to this one. Pepys would have watched from the original glass windows of the tavern from seeing how the fire progressed. Fuller's Smith Horse Dray, 1936. Sorry, thank you. There's quite a lot to this one, isn't there? Just move that along so I don't knock that down with my bag. This is what I like, all the old bricks and the old timbers in the walls and everything. The fish sellers from the old Billingsgate Fish Market. There's a lot of Shakespearean memorabilia here, of course, because Shakespeare was known to drink in this pub. This place is vast. The shellfish cellar. They sold shellfish by the Thames shore. Unfortunately so, they don't do so anymore. I'm quite partial to a bit of seafood. Well, this one turned out to be the gift that keeps on giving. This pub.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? All right?
Yeah, not too bad.
Just taking some photos.
No worries.
Thank you. here we are, the man himself, Samuel Pepys, our main reason for coming here. And his diary entry for that particular event is, and to Bankside, and to a little inn on Bankside, and there did see the fire grow and grow until it spread up all the hill of the city. And it's from here that he would have watched that fire. Much Ado About Nothing. Merry Wives of Windsor. You could quite easily get lost in a place like this, couldn't you? Can heartily recommend this one to anyone. If you are thinking of coming though, do so early, because it gets really busy, this one. It's a very popular pub. And that's exactly as it should be. I beg your pardon about reflections, they are something I cannot do anything about. There's more of it, good heavens. This is the room my friend told me about. The panelling in this room is 17th century. She didn't know whether it was original to the room or not, but the panelling is 17th century, and we're in the Shakespeare room. Boiler in there. Not a bad view from a Thames side window, is it? Don't open that one. There's your fire escape down that way, so we will not go that way. It's got a lot of different staircases in it, this one, I must admit. Exactly where I need to go, so I'll pause you for a minute. That's better. By Jove, I needed that. London. That's a Tudor map of London, that. Theatre. watching from where Mr. Pepys stood and watched the Great Fire of London. I brought us back upstairs out onto the rooftop garden, which probably wouldn't have existed in Pepys's day, but this is where we should end our tour off with. Here we are. And from one Pepys drinking location right over to another, that there is the Samuel Pepys. Started off its life as a tea warehouse from the docks, and in more recent times been turned into the Samuel Pepys. A modern, very modern inside looking pub, but nice by the looks of it, so may give it a whirl one day. But this is our main historical location for today, because of course this is where Samuel came to watch the Great Fire of London. So I hope you've all found this interesting. Thanks very much for watching. And that's the Anchor. Take care all, see you all soon.
And now for our historical look back. We start with a scene that would have been well known to Pepys and etched into his memory for the rest of his days. We see the boats people being rowed away from the city over to Bankside to escape the fire. And this is exactly what Samuel would have experienced on that night, and where they went to the Anchor, to the little Bankside inn to watch the fire burn. Must have been a terrifying sight. You can imagine, can't you, not knowing whether you would go back and find your home still there, or seeing everything you knew just burned and destroyed. St Paul's School. Lots of the landmarks of Pepys's era were lost then. The Anchor Tavern on the corner of Bankside, 1926-1927. It's our earliest photograph I can find of it. Same shot, same kind of era, just a little bit of a longer shot this one. Early 20th century. This one is the Bankside. It's a caricature, circa 1928. The Anchor, Bank End, 1943, and you can see it's actually being held up by props. There was a lot of wartime damage in the area, and the pub had fallen into quite a state of disrepair come this time. You can see this 1940s watercolour that shows, looking down Museum Street, the damage that had been done to the structures, a lot of them around it. That was a comic illustration published in Somewhere to Go, circa 1952. The Anchor, Bankside, with a dray horse just going by in 1953.
Thanks for watching, hope you all enjoyed the tour, and I'll see you on the next one.